Hey. Oh, Hey, y'all. Yeah, I'm over here jamming, listening to this song called That Way by Don Reddy and Young Chris. I love them. But anyway, listen. Hey, y'all. It's me, the Glow Up is. And we are on episode 27, y'all. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that we're here. Um, and God has really been blessing. Listen, this is what we do, right? At the Glow Up is we grow to glow. This is what we do. We grow to glow, and sometimes it ain't comfortable. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it don't feel good. All of that good stuff, right? But we growing because we know at the end of the day we gotta let this light shine. So not only that, we in this thing together, right? We in this thing together. We got this. So tonight, y'all, I wanted to just talk to y'all. We've been talking about emotions. We've been talking about getting the plank out your own eye. Been trying to make sure that we see things the way that God sees them, right? We've been talking about get out your feelings, what's inside of your heart, right? And being good to yourself. We talked about that last week, being good to yourself. Extend yourself some grace. So tonight, y'all, I kind of wanted to talk about timelines. I kind of wanted to talk about us just taking some time to really embrace who we are. Like just silence the voices in your head. Just stop. Just stop and breathe. Just stop. Like I think sometimes we don't know when to stop. Like we just don't know when to stop. And when I'm talking to y'all, I promise you, I'm talking to me too, y'all, because God had to get that to me this week. Like just stop, just stop. And I was like, Craig, day, this is crazy, right? Because we put thoughts in our heads because of who we are. Like this flesh, man, we got to die to this flesh. It's real. We got to die to this flesh because it is real out here. And it can really stunt our growth. And that's not what we do at the Glow Up is, right? The Glow Up is, y'all, this is what we do, right? We grow. We grow to glow because we got to show somebody else what it is. We got to deal with those things that's internal, right? In order for this glow to really shine, in order for this light to shine. Because we want to show God. This is what we do at the Glow Up is. So y'all know how y'all do, how we do. I'm your pusher, I'm your auntie, I'm your encourager. And today, y'all, we're gonna motivate each other. So I want to just dive right on up into this thing because y'all, this thing was really thinking. Listen, so I want to start at Galatians chapter 6, and I want to just target verse 3, and I'm going to stop at verse 5. So it says, each one should test their. So it says, if anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Did y'all hear that? Okay, let me get back into that again. If anyone thinks that they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Y'all, this thing hit me like a ton of bricks. If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. So, first of all, God is it's almost like God is like, oh, yeah, you delusional because you think that you've arrived, right? You got all of these things that it is that you want to do. You worried about this, you complaining, right? Stop. Stop complaining. Stop comparing because you not her. She not you. She will never be you. Get out your own head. Get out your own way. Y'all, this is a real thing. This thing hit me in my shanana. That thing hit me real hard because I started thinking like, well, great day. Listen to this. Each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. But each one should carry their own load. Listen, we all got enough going on in our own lives to be worried about what somebody else got going on. And here we go comparing ourselves to them, thinking that they got it all together. And God just told us just now in Galatians, listen, you ain't got it all together. And who thinks that they do got it together, they deceive, they are delusional. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be delusional. I want to get myself right. I want to grow. I want to grow to glow. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I'm tired of continuing to move forward, trying to move forward and I got all these different thoughts in my head. I'm tired of worrying about what I'm going to do tomorrow. I need to be focused on the day. I need to stop worrying about the timelines. I need to stop worrying about when is it going to happen for me? It's happening for her. Let's talk about it. It's happening for him. And what are you doing to position yourself? What are you doing to make sure that you get the things that it is that you're doing? And guess what? You may actually be out here really living your life and really doing exactly what it is that you are supposed to be doing, right? But God's timing is God's timing, and there is nothing that you can do about it, right? But you got to remain consistent in this thing. Think about it. Wouldn't you hate to just all of a sudden you be out here doing your thing and you showing God that God, I'm believing by faith that you're going to do this thing for me, and you doing it, you doing it, you doing it. And God is like, you are so close, right, to receiving the breakthrough. You're so close to receiving the reward that I have for you. But then all of a sudden you just give up because you looking at such and such and how it worked for them. And just because it worked for them that way doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you that way. We cannot, and I repeat, we cannot compare our lives, not even to our own people that we know. Like, just because you went through that don't mean necessarily that I'm gonna go through it. So we got to stop complaining too. Y'all, listen, just stop. It's real. Like, we just got to learn how to accept those things that we cannot change, right? And sometimes we can change ourselves, because the reality is that it starts here in the mind, and it starts with a thought. So if we can change the way that we think, and we can change our minds and how we move, right? Because that dictates how we carry ourselves in this world. Yeah, we got things going on, but at the end of the day, just because we got these things going on, they can't deter us unless we allow it to deter us. So y'all, we got to get out our own way. We got to get out our own way. And when I'm talking to y'all, I promise y'all, I'm talking to me. And I was like, Toya, you got to get out your own way. Baby girl, you got to get out your own way. You complaining about this job. You complaining about, oh my gosh, I'm not where I want to be physically, right? Because I want to get some weight off. I want to get some more weight off. And y'all, listen, I've been really looking into, like, I was here I go. Here come the flesh. Listen, when you see, your people, right? And you see real, like, these are real people that and you just like, dang, okay, she really lost that weight. And then I found out, like, it was the gastric sleeve, right? That, one of my people had did, right? So I've been watching them. And I was like, dang, she did the gastric sleeve. And she was like, I hadn't told anybody that I had did that, but that's what I did, because I had seen that she was losing the weight so quick. And I'm like, I'm in the gym. And then I feel like I'm at home and I'm really working out and I'm being intentional with the food that I eat, but I ain't getting nowhere, y'all. And I've been at a plateau. I'm telling you, I've been at a plateau. And so it was bothering me. And next thing you know, I've been comparing myself and my walk, right, and my journey with her journey, not knowing that she had already took the route of the gastric sleeve, right? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, what you doing. Maybe you could give me some tips, and maybe that. But then God had to remind me is that your journey is not hers. Your timeline, right, ain't hers either. You know what I'm saying? Y'all different ages. And y'all bodies is not structured the same way. Y'all, it's so crazy, because God had to literally bring that to my attention, is that sometimes we compare ourselves, and it's not that we compare ourselves sometimes intentionally, but sometimes subconsciously, right? We'll look at something and we'll see something. We're like, dang, maybe that'll look good on me, or maybe that won't look good on me. But we don't carry, we begin to carry a load that God didn't call us to carry. Like, we'll start all of a sudden putting things and ideas in our head, because now we receive that maybe I should be doing that, or maybe I should go about it this way. And that's not what God called us to do. God wants us to literally trust him in all things. And when he tells us to trust in him with all of our hearts, right, and lean not to our own understanding, listen, he means that. Trust in me with all of your heart, not some of your heart. I don't want just pieces and bits and pieces of your heart. I want all of you. And so if I can have all of you, I can then position you, right, to be able to receive the things that it is that I have for you. And then that way you won't even have to worry about comparing your life, right, to someone else's, because you don't know the cost, right? And that's another thing. Sometimes, y'all, we see things, and social media is so big on this, right? We see things that people want us to see. We don't see all of it. And we have this thing called editing. Yeah. So it's a lot of people that like to do like pre-recorded, podcasts. And I don't have nothing against that. Nothing is wrong with that at all. Because you get to edit it, you get to do all of that. But me personally, I like the transparency, right? Because for me, I'm like, listen, I'm in my home. I'm in my home and I have my affirmation wall, right? And I'm right here with my mic, and I'm literally right here in front of y'all because I want it to be authentic as possible. You see what I'm saying? But if I was to compare my podcast to somebody else's podcast, right? It's not to take away from them or anything else, but this is just what God has called me to do. And so what I have to learn is that I got to stay focused on what it is that God has called me to do. And I can't compare, right, what I'm doing with somebody else, because we all, at the end of the day, we all got a role in this thing called kingdom business. Yeah, we do. And it's no shade to nobody else, right? But Toya's gonna be out here living the way that when I tell y'all I'm out here holding myself accountable, when we have these conversations, when I'm literally on this podcast and I'm talking to y'all, I promise y'all, I am talking to me too. I ain't got it all figured out. I ain't got it all the way right. Y'all, I'm just as ratchet as I can be. And sometimes I don't even feel qualified to even speak. I don't even feel qualified sometimes, right, to even say some of the things that I say. But God has really put me in a place and in his presence where I can be unapologetically me. So at the end of the day, I'm letting you know that guess what? I still have my moments where I compare myself because I'm still a human being and I still want to obtain things out of this life. But in order for me to obtain these things out of life, right, I have to make sure that I'm in his word. But I'm not only am I in his word, but I got to be real with myself. And I don't know about y'all, man. Listen, sometimes those things can be hard to accept about yourself. You're like, why am I complaining about something? What did I say today? And sometimes we have to really retract some of the things that we say, right? Or either counteract those things that we say, right? And I'm saying, like, we may say something negative, but we have to be mindful of the things that we say out of our mouth. Because if we don't, and we just continue to say the things that we want to say out of our mouths freely, and it's negative, do you know the impact that that can have on your day? Like I said the other day, I was like, man, that's how I woke up. Whew. And I tripped and I said, Lord, it's going to be a bad day. And I'm like, why did I just say that? No, it's not. It's not going to be a bad day. It's going to be a great day. I had to literally counteract that thing because literally I began to command my morning. And I literally had to check myself and say, stop. You get so now that you complain and you complaining just about the simplest, smallest things. And if you just spoke out your mouth the positive things, right? Then guess what? It's gonna be that. Like, even when things are bad or things may seem like it's not going in the direction that you want it to go in, you have the power to change that. You get to change that because you get to change how you perceive it. You get to change how you receive it. You get to change that. Nobody has the power like you got the power. I don't think we realize how much authority and how much power we really got because it's in us. It's in us. It's in us to really be out here, right? And really living intentionally the way that God has called us to live without comparing our lives to other people. Y'all. Yes, I want a husband. I want my kids, right? And I want a whole lot of different things. And I know that God wants those things for me too, right? But am I doing everything that I need to be doing in order to be able to even receive those things? And that's one of those things that we need to be asking ourselves. What are some things that you are believing God for? What are some things that you want, right? For God, like, what are some things that you believe in that God has already shown you that you can have? But yet at the same time, you haven't positioned yourself to even be able to receive those things. Like, do you really seriously think that you would have the thoughts that you have or the desires that you have, right? If God wasn't a part of that, because he lives in you. but we don't sit long enough in the word to get the instructions, right? Because we're so wrapped up in today. We're so wrapped up in the things that it is that we want to do, right? And we get so wrapped up in routine that it becomes a habit. Like it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit to the point where we just out here just doing. Okay, I got up this morning. I fed myself. I cooked something. I did dinner. Took my shower. Brushed my teeth. Now it's time for me to go to bed. I already took my clothes and stuff out, and I already got the food already ready for the morning. And you just get used to doing the same thing every day. When God says, "Well, where's the time with me?" Ouch. Where is the time with me? So you can be spending more time with me than 30 minutes. You give me 30 minutes all the time. Ouch. Listen, I'm just saying. Listen, I call myself out. I'll just say it like that. Listen, I give God 30 minutes of my day. Man, he make and to be honest with you, he may even get about 15 minutes in the morning from me and then 15 minutes at night from me, right? So that's practically an hour out of my whole day that God gets, right? But I'm intentional with his time now. I'm intentional with his time. But at the same time, I could be doing more, right? I could give him more of my time. But I'm so focused on the things that Toya wants to do, right? And routine, because this is what I do every day. But God wants to interrupt those plans. God says, I know the plans that I have for you. My plans are not to harm you, but to prosper you. Like this is what God wants us. Like his plans are so much bigger than ours. And that's why we got to get out of our own heads, y'all, because we could get to a place, y'all, where we can become delusional. We think we got it all together. We think we got it all together, honey. And not everybody is for you, right? Everybody ain't for you. Some people out here, it really looks like they are living their best lives. But behind closed doors, honey, you don't even understand how people move in these days because you got a lot of people out here that's perpetrating. You got people out here that's really out here thinking that they got their own everything and all that stuff is leased. A lot of that stuff is on borrowed time. And you out here trying to break your neck to try to get what they got. And the reality is they ain't really got it. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? And you be finding out later on, man, they was living a lie the whole time. They really not who they say they are. And that's crazy because we get so wrapped up over things and people not even who they say they are. Listen, we got to really, really, really believe people when they show us who they are, right? But we got to remember too, like the world that we live in today, especially with social media, man, people literally leave things out on purpose. You don't know the whole story. You don't know what they've been through. You have no idea the people that they've lost. You don't know the people that they turned their back on. You don't know the people that they even crossed, right? To even get there. You don't know. But you want it though. It's easy for us to see the reward, but we don't want to put the work in. It's easy for us to say, oh, I want this, God. God, can you show me this? God, can you get me here? Right? But you don't want to put the work in. And some of us, man, listen, I'm going to tell you what. Some of us are so envious of each other that we don't even know how to say, girl, you got that. You did that. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. I done had some friends that have come in my life, right? That have shown me who they really are. Okay. And yes, T, yes, then you have the ones who have true intent for you, and because others have hurt you or did something to harm you, you always block it. Yes, by thinking negative of the person God sent. Exactly, and that's exactly where I was going to go with this, because the reality is, right, is that a lot of times, man, we've been around people and we've been conditioned, right, to actually say this person don't really know this person. We think they have motives. Let me put it like that. We think that they really have motives, and we look at it negatively because of the experiences that we've experienced. Like we look at it because of the life things, like this life journey, man. We've lost friends, we've been through these things, and so we're trying to figure out, well, who sent you? Listen, I got a friend in my life right now, right? who literally wants to really like be intentional, right? With just being friends with me, right? And I'm just like, I don't know about this one. This is kind of crazy. Like, what she want from me? How, like, what she, what is her motive? Like, is she trying to get information from me? What is she trying to do? And it's crazy because the reality is, and what I did was, y'all, and which I listen, I prayed to God and asked God for like-minded people. I said, God, I want to be around like-minded people. But here I am questioning a person that you'd have brought into my life, most likely, right? Because this person has really literally shown up and she really is who she says she is. Like, isn't that amazing when God can really begin to show you that I will send you people who not just pretending to be somebody that they say, but they really are who they are because I created them and I allowed them to cross paths with you. And I thank God for allowing me to be able to receive them. Because if I was in the season, if I was in the previous season that I was in, I wouldn't have even been able to be able to be willing to even take a leap of faith to even try to even receive this friend that I have now. And I'm thankful for her because she stuck with me for life and she know who she is. Listen, she stuck with me for life. And I'd have said that before. But because I know that at the end of the day, right, I know that a lot of times what happens is that we get blinded by hurt. We get blinded by our experiences because that's what we do. Yes. And that is exactly why we got to take the planks out of our own eyes because God will show us who the authentic people are because we know them by the fruit that they bear. God is going to give you your people, man. And if you are praying for, good people to come into your life, be ready to receive them. If you praying for that husband, get ready to receive him, sis. You praying for that wife, get ready to receive her. Like we need to really do some unpacking and some untangling because we cannot allow our experiences, y'all, to mess with us or hinder us. We can't allow those things to stop us because guess what? That's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to be an island by yourself. The enemy wants you to think that it's just you, and it's not a us and it's not a we, right? Because he wants you to feel isolated. And if he can get you alone, then he got you already. Because he can make you feel like I've been doing this for so long. So why I need to stop? And God's like, okay, so you don't want to grow. So you don't want to take the time to really address the issues that you got going on inside of you. And a lot of us, we don't want to do the work. We don't want to do the work. And some of us are scared of who we are becoming. Y'all listen, I'm going to tell you what. And I'm gonna be real transparent with this one because as of lately, I'm starting to see myself differently than where I was, right? And I understand that I'm growing, but it's scaring me at the same time because I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What's going on, God? This is different. This is different for me because I'm changing. And change can be very scary when you haven't been there before because it's the fear of the unknown, right? And I think that the crazy thing about this, fear doesn't even exist. We've made it up in our heads, right? That this is a feeling. And how do we really get there? We don't even know what's on the other side. Like we may actually like this. We may actually begin to appreciate it. Y'all, I'm appreciating this season of who I am right now, okay? Because it's a beautiful thing where I'm just like, okay, all right. I felt like I used to be all over the place and trying to find my way and trying to figure out, God, what is my purpose? What do you have for me to do? Right. And so when God would begin to show me that, Toya, your voice is working for you, right? And I don't know what your purpose is, right? But you can start tapping into that thing and start paying attention to what it is and asking God, God, what is it that you have for me to do? Because he will begin to change you and he'll begin to mold you, right, into who he sees you to be. Because sometimes in life, right, if we don't take the time to get to know who we are, right, we become imitations instead of the authentic version of ourselves. Like we continue to hold on to past seasons, outdated versions of ourselves, because those outdated versions of ourselves aren't even who we are anymore. God is literally trying to uproot us and take us to another level. But because we're so hurt and because we're in a season where we just want to be isolated, we don't want to be bothered, or we don't want to we don't want to show ourselves approval, right? We don't want to accept who we are. We don't want to accept that we've been hurt. We don't want to accept the pain that we've endured, right? But we don't understand that at the end of the day, right, it is still working out for our good. Listen, if you are sitting here and you are watching this, guess what? You are a walking testimony. So you don't have to complain about anything. Yeah, I know it's rough out here. Stop worrying. And listen, and that was what this topic, that's what this thing was about tonight. It was just saying, just stop. Like sometimes, y'all, we just gotta stop. And we just got to thank God for just allowing us to just be here, just to be able to see another day. Because guess what? It was somebody that didn't wake up today. It was somebody, right, that wants exactly what it is that you have. And we could be out here complaining about any and everything. But what is that really doing for us? It's doing more damage to us than it is any good. And we got to know that it's working together for our good. Listen, this is how we grow. We're growing, y'all. We're growing through different things. This is what God has called for us to do. Thank you for keeping me, God. I mean, it's just sometimes we just got to wake up, y'all, in a thankful moment, in a grateful moment, because we didn't have to make it here. We didn't have to see today, but we see today, and yet we still complain. We still see all of the negative things. We still see all of the past hurts. And God says, I need you to be in the present moment. Forget about the past. Forget about who you used to be, because you're not that version of you anymore. Let her go. Let her die. She is no longer a part of you. I have created a new creature in you. You are new. Behold, all things are new. You are new, sis. You are new, bruh. You are new. Listen, I'm telling you, man. And it's crazy because we got to be intentional with who he's called us to be. But if we're not intentional with who it is that he's called us to be, we can't really take a moment to say stop. We can't take a moment and just say stop, because we have to pay attention to all of the signs. And sometimes, y'all, I got this thing. I got this thing called a flag on the play. I say it all the time. There go a red flag. I see it. It's a flag on the play. And I gotta address it right then and there, because I begin to see all of the signs and these little triggers that's coming up, right? Because I'm like, oh no, I don't want to, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to address this today, and even if it involves another person and I see that red flag, listen, I ain't got time to address this today. God, I need to pray on this. How do you want me? How do you want me, God, to address this red flag? But when it pertains to me, I got to be open and honest with myself, because if I can't address the red flags with me, how in the world do I plan on addressing the red flags with somebody else? Exactly. So that's why I say just stop. Put a pause on it. Because sometimes, y'all, we can be so over. We get our minds wrapped up in so many different emotions and so many different thoughts that we can begin to overwhelm ourselves. And it can stress us out. And sometimes we stress ourselves out and we don't even realize that we're stressing ourselves out. Y'all, we to put ourselves in situations that we shouldn't even put ourselves in. We put ourselves in situations that we shouldn't even put ourselves in. Okay. I'm the only one. Oh, all right. I'm just saying. Like, it ain't even for you to put your hands on it. It ain't even for your mouth to even touch that. Just stop. God says, stop worrying. Stop complaining. I got you. I'm right here. I don't need you to do anything. I just need you to wait on me. Stop worrying about when it's going to happen. It's going to happen. If I told you that it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Ain't no ands, ifs, buts about it. If I said it, it's going to be done, because I've given it to you. If I put something in you, you got to understand that it's going to get done. It's going to get done. You got to understand that if I put it in you, then you have to believe that you got enough faith in you, that in me, to allow me to complete it and to finish this thing. Y'all, listen, God touched me like that. And I said, wow. I just need to just stop. God was like, I just need you to just stop. And I was like, dang, I just need to just stop. So I need to get out of my own head, God. God was like, yeah, I need you to get out your own head. I need you to get out your own way too. I need you to stop comparing your life to other people's. I need you to stop thinking that you're not qualified. And listen, I don't know who else I'm talking to on this in this moment, y'all, but I promise you, it's so easy for us sometimes to get so wrapped up in this world. It's so easy for us to get so wrapped up in the things that it is that we want, right? And but when God begins to tell you, and his thoughts become your thoughts, man, and you spend so much time with God, God will begin to show you who you are. He will begin to show you how to think. He will begin to show you how to walk. Listen, I need him daily. I need him daily because these emotions of mine, honey, these emotions, honey, sometimes, honey, can consume you if you allow them to consume you. But what I won't do is I'm going to speak back to these emotions and I'm going to let them know that this spirit got a little bit more power than what you think, boo-boo. And you got to come harder than that. You got to come harder than that. You see what I'm saying? Because I got to be intentional and disciplining myself. And I'm thankful for the friends that I have, right? The like-minded people that I have around me that's not afraid to call me out because I ain't afraid to call them out. Child, don't even talk about it, sis. Yeah, sometimes it could be your spouse, it could be, man, listen, it could be your friends, it could be a whole lot of people that will literally begin to try to drive you crazy and have all of these different emotions. And it's things of the world when God says that we're not supposed to even be of this world. Listen, okay, that's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not, but we gotta take the time to discipline ourselves. We gotta send these emotions and stuff back to the pit of hell where they belong. Because listen, these emotions ain't supposed to be wrapping us, ain't supposed to be getting us so uptight. We can't stay in our emotions for a long period of time. Challenge yourself this week. Give yourself some time this week and just say, you know what? Okay, when I get in my emotions this week, I'm gonna say I can have a pity party for about 5 minutes. I give myself 5 minutes to have a pity party. Whatever it is, I'm gonna have it for 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, I'm gonna get myself back together. You see what I'm saying? See, I done got good at it now, right? But sometimes for me, I spread it out. So my emotions sometimes can go crazy. My mind will literally, I don't know if I got anybody out here to think like me, right? So it can literally be one thought that crossed my mind. Next thing you know, I done made a whole story in my head. And I ain't got no answers, no confirmation from nobody. But I'm that person. And I always been like this, even in relationships where, you know what I'm saying? I'll ask my dude and I'm like, okay, so what did you say? Okay, so you said that, and then I asked him a question, and maybe he didn't answer the question in the way that I wanted him to answer the question. First of all, I shouldn't be expecting my response from him because he is him and I'm me, right? But at the same, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so I'll then repeat the question. I'll then repeat the question and repeat the answer that he gave me to make sure we on the same page. So then afterwards, right? I'll say something and it may have been an open-ended really question. And then he'll be sitting there like, what? And then I'm in my emotions because I'm like, well, you didn't answer the question. Because you didn't answer the question, I just assumed that that's what you meant. Because you didn't really answer my question. And that's why I repeated it back to you to make sure we was both on the same page. So now you mad at me because I assumed that that's what you did, but I thought that's what you said. And it's crazy, right? Because God had to check me on that too. Is that Toya, you can't expect other people to be like you. You can't expect your friend or your spouse or nobody to think like you. Like you are uniquely you, right? But you also have to make sure that you're taking the time to be patient. There go that fruit of that, man. Listen, there go that fruit. There go that fruit again. We talked about that fruit of the spirit a while ago, but there go that fruit again. There go a piece of it. Is that patience? Is that patience there? Is the patience really there? So God was testing me in that moment. And sometimes God will show you when you are around a bunch of people. This is the reason why we need people because you will see the things that's wrong with you. That's why I say, Toya, stop. Toya, stop. Because that's not right and that's not fair, right? But God has called us, man, to really live an intentional life. And He wants us to live a purposeful life. He wants us to live a purposeful life and He wants us to get out of our own head. He wants us to not think about those things that we cannot control. He doesn't want our emotions to consume us. He wants us to live the life that he's called for us to live. But we can't live it if we're so focused on what the other person is doing around us. We can't focus on it if we're watching TV all the time. We can't do that if we're strolling through social media all day, liking pictures and commenting and trolling. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I love me some TMZ. I love TMZ. Listen, I tell you what. I love me some. I do. I love me some TMZ. I'll be on there and I'll be like, dang, look at that new story. That new story is crazy. That is wild. I cannot believe that. And so, it's not really feeding me anything. It's really not giving me anything really that's beneficial. So I'm learning, Toya, let's do some things that's more beneficial. Let's get more into writing in your journal, right? And let's get more into the word. Maybe I can put the word there instead of TMZ, right? Because it's a whole lot of things in the Bible too that's interesting, right? And sometimes I just feel like me picking up the Bible. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't really want to pick up the word today. I don't really, even though I may need the word, I'm like, I don't really want to pick up the word. But in my 30 minutes, I'm intentional with it because I literally disciplined myself to at least be in it for 30 minutes and maybe the 15 minutes before I start my shift and then the 15 minutes after my shift, right? Or before I go to bed. Either way, God will still get an hour out of my day, right? But I know that he deserves more. And the more time that we spend with God, the more he can begin to affirm us. I don't know about y'all, man, but I love to be affirmed. That's one of my major love languages. And I challenge you too. If you don't know your love languages, listen, you definitely need to seek that out and figure out what your love language is, because God will begin to speak to you in those things too, in those ways, and God will begin to send you people, man, that will love you exactly the way that you're supposed to be loved. And my whole thing is that we got to be intentional with just giving him time, because he deserves it. He really, really deserves it. But check your love language out and see exactly what it is, because I don't know about y'all, but listen, I love to be affirmed by God. I love to know that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. I love that he knows the plans that he has for me. I love to know that I can trust him with all of my heart and lean not to my own understanding. I love it. I just love to know those things. I just love to know that there's a time and a purpose for everything, that to everything there's a season. I just love to know that. I just love to know that he wept, like he cried, just like I cried. I love to know that. I love to know that he is an awesome God, right? I love to know that he can do exceeding and abundantly above all things that I could ever ask for. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are the things, y'all, when we have these difficult times, we have to be reminded of who God is. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have to be reminded, because the thing is, man, we will get so caught up in this world thinking that we don't have, we're thinking that we're missing out on something. And I promise you that when the timing is right, and when it's your time and it's your go time, man, listen. This is what I'm saying. I'm ready for my go time, because there's been a lot of people around me that's been blessed. It's been a lot of people around me that are being blessed. So I'm like, God, look at you. You around here somewhere. I'm next. I'm next. But I'm genuinely happy, right? For my sister. I'm genuinely excited for my brother, right? I'm excited for them because I see what God is doing in their life. And they are also helping me to see, right? And being more hope for me of what favor looks like. Man, listen. I'm like, God, if you need somebody to be a representation of what favor look like, you can use me. You can take me over here, God. I don't mind being a story or open book for favor. You see what I'm saying? Because I love those stories, man, where the underdog is the one that gets the reward. Like, we didn't think that the underdog was really gonna win it, but he actually won the game. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's that type of situation. And God is like, with me by your side, you always win. I'm just saying. Listen, with God on your side, we can't lose. You see what I'm saying? We can't lose. We can't even lose the battle. Like, even when we think that we done lost, we still won. That's crazy. Now that's crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy mind to have, because you like, dang. They like, well, what was she walking? She walking away like she won. She didn't even get a medal. She didn't even win first prize, second prize, third prize. She didn't even win anything. She didn't even place. But God says you still won. You get to go home and still say, I still won, because sometimes, y'all, it's just getting in the race. That is all. Sometimes all it is you saying, I just want to get in the race. I ain't even got to win. I ain't even got to run as fast as nobody. All I got to do is just pace. All I gotta do is just try to work my feet to just move one over the other. And you may be moving slow, but guess what? You're gonna get there. So I can't worry about what you're doing on your side. I can't worry about how you over there and how you prepare for the race. I just gotta trust that my coach gave me the instructions, and I gotta do what I gotta do according to the journey that he has in front of me. I gotta stay focused. But see, if I keep my eyes on you, then I'm going to come over in that direction. And I don't need to come over in that direction, because that may not even be the direction that God has called me to go in. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be open and honest with ourselves, y'all. We got to be intentional with this thing and spending time with God. But we also got to learn to just take the time to just stop. We just got to take the time to just stop and give him what is due to him. We got to just take the time to just stop and give him our worries. We got to just take the time to just stop, y'all, and just tell him thank you. We got to just give him what's due to him. And y'all, he don't want us to carry all this stuff. He don't want us to carry the weight. He don't want us to worry about nothing. He doesn't. He really, really doesn't. He wants to give you everything that belongs to you. And I don't know about y'all. Listen, I'm in this world, right? We on this planet Earth. I don't know about y'all, but I want everything that God has for me. I don't know about y'all. I want it. I want it all. And it ain't no competition. It's no competition. It's none. Because we all got our rewards. And what's for you is for you. And what's for me is for me. You see what I'm saying? But we can be living lights to others who need to see that light. Do y'all know how many people in this world are watching you? Like, be mindful, man. You got people watching you. And y'all, I'm real intentional with this thing, because I'm like, tag, I got to carry myself in such a way now. Okay, God, I'm representing you. I won't like this all the time. I was not like this all the time. Like, all right. Because people used to tell me, God, you look mean. You look like you this and you look like you that, but you don't even know me. So then I started really getting to a place where I was just like, okay, well, let me be intentional with how I move. Let me be intentional with speaking to everybody, because that's who I am anyway. I like to speak to people. I don't like people to feel excluded. I like everybody to feel included, and that's just what it is, right? But I do have a very good balance of ratchetness, but then also holiness, right? And so when I say that, I'm talking about, like, listen, I'm talking about spirit and flesh, because I do have a balance when it comes to that. And so I will literally begin to speak to people, and I will be at that level. I don't like to speak to people and make them think that I'm up here, because I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to always have my own issues. I'm going to always have some things that's going on, just like you is. You're going to have some things too. And God ain't called us to be all the way up here. That ain't, listen, no, listen, meet people where they at. Meet people where they at, because I promise you, at one point you were at that level. Yep, you were at that level at one point. And that's the reality, right? Is that God has levels for us. And some of us, he's calling us to another level, but we can't get there because we haven't addressed this level yet. We haven't addressed the things that's at the surface level. Some of us need to go back to the root, back to the surface level stuff, and say, okay, have I really done everything that I need to do? Have I really addressed those things, those hard things, right, that I'm dealing with internally, inside? Do I really need to seek counseling? Do I need to, what are some things that I'm carrying? What are some things that I've been doing for so long that I know that I'm tired of? And God has really literally been trying to give you a breakthrough, but because you want to do what you want to do, you miss the breakthrough. You miss that moment. You miss that moment of freedom. And God is calling you to be free. You ain't got to be in church to get free, to become free. God says, I'll set you free right now. Who I said free is free indeed. I'm just saying, listen, this is what God be doing. God can do that thing right there in your home. Yep, he sure can. And all you got to do literally is just open your mouth and talk to him and just tell him that you believe in him. Yep. And he can feel it all in your heart. And you just say it out loud and you done. That's saved. It's open. It's real like that. And this is how beautiful God is, man. God is right there waiting for you every single day with open arms, right? His love is so unwavering for us, y'all. Even in our ugly moments, even in our ugliness, even in all of our mess, even us neglecting him. Yep, I done neglected him before, and I done neglected him plenty of times, even in this year, even maybe a few weeks ago, I done neglected him. You see what I'm saying? Because I could be giving him more time and I could be really in the word more, but I choose not to. You see what I'm saying? Because the flesh don't want it, but the spirit does. The spirit needs it. This is what the spirit thrives off of. And this is why some of us at the end of the day too get so caught up during the week because we not spending enough time with him. Some of us, we look at the church service on Sundays and we like, I ain't even going inside the church because sometimes guess what? We don't want to go into church because it's convenient for us. But sometimes we miss an experience because we're not actually physically there. And some of us can actually make it to church, but we choose not to. Ooh, ouch, 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 ouch. That thing hurt, boy. Woo, that thing hurt. Because listen, I'm going to tell you what, it's people like us that's in the church that's hurting too. Like church people hurt too. Listen, they just a bunch of people that's in church. Ain't nobody better than nobody. And I just really wish that we really had that understanding that there is nobody that's better than nobody, even at church, even in the church. Even the pastor got issues. He human, just like you and me. He just called to be the shepherd of the church. That's it. That's it. But some of us can't even listen to our own pastor, right? Because we don't even know how to even judge our own selves. We don't even know how to even move for our own selves. We don't even know how to think for ourselves. We want the pastor to think for us. Whatever the pastor say, that's what we're going to do. We won't even go behind the pastor and read the word and check the word behind the pastor. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I do that every Sunday. If I don't do it that Sunday, I'm doing it by Wednesday. Because I got to check them. I got to see. I got to make sure. But I've always been like that. I don't know who that's for either. But listen, I got you, boo. We in the same boat right there. Because, yeah, I can't be just out here just trusting what you telling me. No, I can't be out here just doing that. I got to lean not into my own understanding, nor your understanding. That got to be God's understanding. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be intentional with this thing. This thing is bigger than us. And if we all do our parts and we just stop and pause and breathe and extend ourselves grace and be good to ourselves and we get the plank out of our own eye, we could do some real good work. Listen. But anyways, listen, I've been on here for a good while now. And y'all know I usually don't try to keep y'all more than 45 minutes. So I'm like 2 minutes over. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead on and end right here. But I love y'all, man. I'm so thankful for y'all for just getting on here, supporting me, supporting God's work, kingdom business for sure. But also just being able to get on here, man, and share, just share the word, just to be able to share, like, this is what we here for. This is what we do, right? We growing together because we have to grow together, man. We have to hold each other accountable because if we don't hold each other accountable and we're not here for each other, right? Man, I don't want to see nobody not win. I want us all to win, man. And God says that we can. We can win because we have all of the things that we need. It's in us. But we got to tap into those things. We got to tap into those things, y'all. We got to. We got to do the work. We got to do the work. We got to get out of our emotions. So remember this week now. Remember this week coming up. If you need to, right? When you start getting in your head, just say, you know what? Toya did say, just stop. Just stop. Just remember that. Just stop. Pause. Breathe. And then say, you know what? I got it. Thank you, God. You know, and give God just thank him in that moment. That's it. And I bet you'll feel better. Probably feel better. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But anyways, y'all, I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. Listen, we grow up, right? We grow into glow. This is what we do at the Glow Up Is. I'm your pusher. I'm your auntie. I'm your motivational. I'm all of that. I'm your motivational speaker. All of that good stuff, right? Because that's what we do. We hold each other accountable. We grow to glow. This is what we do. I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. All right, y'all. Bye.